The movie critic dude requested that I do a movie based on a Disney Channel TV series I have never seen. Teacher's Pet, a name shared by both versions, despite the movie being a follow-up. Weird. Okay, let's not try to sound negative here. Teacher's Pet was a show created by Gary Baseman, who happens to be an artist for the board game Cranium, and has had his drawings shown in other forms of media. The TV show, directed by Timothy Berglund and written by Bill and Sherry Steenkellner, was based on Gary's real-life dog, Hubcaps, with the show being about a dog named Spot who wished to be human in order to be with his owner, Leonard. From what I can find, the show seems reminiscent to Rocko's Modern Life given its style of humor and how it utilizes its rather unique art style. Given who directed, it makes sense. The show lasted from September 2000 to 2002, with 2.5 or 3 seasons worth of episodes. I mean, it did change networks partway into season 2, which caused it to split, but in any case, the movie we're looking at is meant to end the series proper despite being released in 2004. I am so obviously going to miss a lot of in-series references that may pop into the movie, but hopefully I can get some enjoyment out of this just knowing this is set a year after the main character started acting human. So let's see if this will break the trend of bad dog movies I've reviewed lately. This is Teacher's Pet the movie.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are.
How funny that only a couple videos ago we were talking about Pinocchio, and now this movie is referencing Pinocchio. And wow, they even have their own Gary Baseman version of the Blue Fairy. Of course, this is just an abridged version of the movie since she just morphs Pinocchio right away. You blockhead. Well, at least I know this movie has some funny elements to it. Proceed. Much like in the main TV series, Spot is voiced by Nathan Lane. And the last time we saw him on my show was in Mouse Hunt.
I'd give anything if only I could become a real live boy like that Pinocchio.
Is that what you wish for above all other things, dear Spot?
Oh, yes, dear Blue Fairy. Being a real live boy is the most important thing in the whole wide world to me.
Then close your eyes very tightly, dear Spot, and wish for it with all your heart.
Well, barely a minute in and we're already getting to see him turn? I totally believe that. No, this is just a dream as he's awakened by his parrot friend, Pretty Boy.
Wonderful dream.
Him with the dream again. It's not enough you dress up like a boy and go to that cockamamie school every day.
And according to the requestee, this would be the second time that year that Nathan Lane and Jerry Stiller, as it is here, would be in something together. The other was Lion King 1.5. There's also Mr. Jolly, the family cat who's voiced by the late David Steers. You wouldn't think that's him given his performance here versus other roles.
It's a bit early in the day for hypothetical speculations, but you, a rooster?
Splendid to see you out and about, mademoiselle. I am Cogsworth, and the household weekdays can do to make your stay more comfortable.
And of course, their human owner Leonard, who is still voiced by Sean Fleming. I'm going to assume everyone reprises their roles from the TV show, but in any case, it's the last day of school. So Spot dons his Scott Letty Ready II disguise.
World, here I come! Born on the wrong end of the leash, I was a dreamer.
And a little schemer.
A simple mutt living a dog's life. But the bell for school would make me drool till I came up with this clever ploy.
Which is to say, dressing like a boy.
What kind of drugs am I on? So, in this world, we have not only talking animals, but also sentient houses, sentient fire hydrants, and even a living sun?
Everything's junk!
That means that he's a boy. He's a regular whiz kid.
Yeah, but
Hey, that's how it is, kid.
now that summer's here, be a dog like any other.
Well, haven't you always wanted a brother?
I gotta say though, this song is at least funny. I I probably won't remember everything that's said in it, but I get what's going on. Spot desires to keep up his act on being human, despite doubting if he's just in a phase given his continuing dog metaphors, while Leonard is like, I'd rather you be a dog! And I'm guessing in this show, most of the kids know about the secret? Well, either way, at least one girl really likes him. Ew. No, Spot, don't eat me! Oh. So yeah, I can also assume that Spot is all about being the honor student if he was able to make perfect attendance. Also, Leonard's mother has no clue on who he really is. Though to be fair, given the abundance of skin tones, maybe blue humans are a thing as well. Anyway, several kids reveal their plans for summer vacation.
Farm.
We're geek 24/7.
I'm grounded for a week for hacking into Buckingham Palace.
Oh my god, stop making it sound like you're saying something dirty. That totally sounded like he just said f. Anyway, he foreshadows his uncle, who we'll be seeing soon. Then Principal Wallace Strickler has come to say that Mrs. Helperman is a finalist for Teacher of the Year, and is to send her to Florida for the final competition. She even gets to take his Winnebago. Boy, this show has a lot of puns. But there's one condition.
I only have one, little tiny, very simple rule.
Certainly, Principal Strickler.
Absolutely no dogs are allowed in my Winnebago ever. I hate dogs!
I'm going to assume that was also a thing on the show, and I would ask why not just remain in his human disguise, but then again, the mother still doesn't know about him, so there's no way to sneak him aboard anyway. Poor Spot will be alone with no one but his fellow pet friends, and Estelle Harris's character Mrs. Boogan, but Leonard reassures him with a nice funny song.
Sing now, aren't you?
I know it's been said.
Oh boy.
Everyone needs someone.
This is not making it better.
A loyal companion to share in life's fun.
You're killing me here.
For a day at the park or a game of leapfrog.
Sing a
Boy needs a dog.
Leonard! Come on, Lettybones, hop in!
Ugh, mood killer much? So he goes inside to sulk and accidentally hits the plot point button on the remote.
You stupid people with no lives are watching the Barry Anger Show!
Oh hey, I didn't know Trumpy was in this movie.
We have Dr. Ivan Crank, a world-class wacko who, get this, claims he can turn animals into human beings.
Huh? Turn animals into human beings? My dream come true!
Oh, now how did this trash get on my TV?
I agree with her, but she ends up leaving the room, which allows Spot enough time to meet our main antagonist of the movie, Dr. Ivan Crank, voiced by Kelsey Grammer.
I am not a wacko. I am a man of science who has perfected the neuroelectrical photopulsar-based methodology to isolate the genome on the DNA strand, which will allow me to transform dumb animals into dumb human beings just like you. As soon as I find the perfect animal subject to turn into a real, live, human being.
Me, Dr. Crank, me!
Oh ho, move over, Vegapunk. This guy's gonna do what your artificial devil fruits can't do. Since the guy happens to be in Florida, just as his family happens to be going to, because coincidences are funny, he sets off while leaving his friends to Aunt Fanny here. Makes me wonder how far they are from Florida. Oh, but he already caught up to them. I guess they had to stop at some point for this to happen. So even when he says he's going to Florida for personal issues, Leonard doesn't question it. Instead, he panics knowing what Strickler said, but luckily Spot's student clothing was just inside the vehicle. They have to convince Mother to let him come along since she has to ask his parents first.
Jeez! Will I have to go through to become a real live boy? Oh, if you were just sent from heaven above to take our dear little Scott to Florida.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mrs. Ledready, but do you want to hear the funniest thing? bought that exact same dress on this trip.
Oh, that is funny. You're a stitch. Anyway, back to poor Scott. He so desperately wants to go to Florida.
And I believe I packed that same shade of lipstick, too.
Early 2000s humor is so out of date, but at least the dumbass human gag is fine for this type of series.
This please ain't Scott, the sonny's on the Florida, so I can have some peace from all his Methodist cheeses.
Young lady, I missed my chance to see Florida when I was the boy's age. And look what a bitter old woman I turned out to be. And 'tis wishing I am that some fine soul would take
You are all weirdos.
Uncle Jojo the ventriloquist.
Well, it worked, so back to the road trip and...
Let's hit the road and sing a song about it.
What is it with this family and singing?
There's a whole bunch of world in our backyard.
An awful lot of world to see. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas.
No thanks. Your song is nice, but it's a little too weird for me. Not to mention, this movie is only an hour and 15 minutes. Just a bit short of the usual runtime for an animated movie, so I imagine they need to stuff as much in as possible to fit the runtime they do have. So let's try to avoid filler and move on. They finally arrive in Florida and take the time to go to the beach. But Mother has to leave, and since this is Bizarro World, it's okay to leave your child and their friend alone.
Leonard, I think it's time to make somebody's dream come true.
Way ahead of you, pal. Fetch!
Excuse me?
That's my dream. You know, a guy and his dog, the beach, the stick, the waves, the water.
To be fair, you can do that at any major body of water that has a lot of sand near it. But yeah, Spot tells him about how he wishes to become a real human through Wacko Ivan Crank.
I don't know. It all sounds so wacko. And anyway, you're not supposed to be a boy. You're supposed to be my dog. Oh, don't give me the eyes. No, not the sad walk away. Forget it, no. All right, we'll find this Dr. Crank guy. But as soon as you see that I'm right and he's nuts, we'll march right back here, you'll be a dog, I'll throw a stick, and we'll make my summer dream come true.
Great! Then school will resume, and then it's back to square one with your pet being the teacher's pet. Apparently, a whole week has gone by since they left, meaning the trip there must have been over a week, and they brought Ivan back onto Barry Anger's show? Why?
Dr. Ivan Crank is a dangerous fraud. His experiments do not turn animals human at all. They turn them into hideous, weird mutations like this.
Oh, so he failed at making minks. Yeah, sorry Ivan, I have to side with them on this one. Unless you're as smart as Vegapunk, you shouldn't be messing with DNA. So now Pretty Boy is determined to go to Florida and save their friend.
You gotta be strong. You gotta sharpen your claws, flop up your tail, and sing this fighting song. Small but mighty, when you're powerful and wise, you can rise above any size. If you belittle being little, then your quest is doomed to fail. But when you're small but mighty...
Okay, this song is good and all, but what are you gonna do about Mrs. Mrs. Boogan?
Small but mighty.
When you're small but mighty, the mighty shall prevail. Onward!
Oh, nothing. I guess there was nothing to worry about at all. They can just leave her alone and she won't question it. Spot and Leonard seem to find the building that Ivan works at since it's all so high-tech, but the address number was off by 1, so the real building is in... Nice. Oh, and never mind. Pretty Boy and Jolly have some street animals take their place while they're gone. Like she's really that blind.
And Pretty Boy and Mr. Jolly. Come on in, boys. There's fresh food in the kitchen.
Her heart's in the right place, but boy, could she use a new set of bifocals.
Well, thanks for admitting it for me. Anyway, the boys find Ivan in his rundown home, about to experiment on a frog.
done it! Success! At long last, I have taken a frog and made it!
Moo.
I have failed again.
But you were able to make 2 of the animals, Anthro. You can't work off that? And look, there they are again, only they're not as bad looking as that gross exaggeration photo made them look. Surprised they're still here when he doesn't treat them like children. But maybe Spot will convince him to work on him anyway.
I am a dog who wants to be a worthless boy. I mean, who wants to be a boy.
Good Lord, I was totally fooled.
And you know, if all animals can talk, there's not much reason to pursue being human when you can just be humanoid.
You've been experimenting on swamp creatures, insects, and reptiles.
And alligators.
Alligators are reptiles.
Proceed.
But the fact is, Dr. Crank, if you want to make a man, you've got to start with a mammal.
Makes sense to me.
Who do you think you are?
I'll tell you who I am. Or better yet, I'll sing it.
Oh boy.
I was born with a brain that could not be contained, so they tortured and teased me and called me insane. It was bad, very bad. Even Mom called me mad. Any child would go wild from the pain.
Well, look at it this way. At least your nephew likes what you do, even though he's not here despite wanting to see you at the start of the movie. Anyway, he fires his laser, and...
Spot, this is wrong.
You're supposed to be my dog.
And I shall make you a boy. Mein Gott in Himmel.
Whoa.
Daddy did it!
I gotta say, I'm a boy. I'm a boy. I'm a really big boy.
You look like the big boy mascot. So since he's forgotten about dog years, he's become a man instead of a boy. But hey, he's still human. So happy ending for him at least.
How can I thank you?
Oh, it will be thanks enough that you spend the rest of your life traveling around the world with me as living proof of my genius.
Yeah, good luck proving this to the public. Unless you decide to perform live demonstrations with other animals, how are you going to convince them that this guy used to be a dog? Obviously, Spot isn't interested in this, so they try to leave only to be encaged. Luckily, when they leave them for a bit, we get a surprise visitor. It's Ian from the beginning of the movie.
Ian, can you help us get out of here?
What'll you give me if I do?
All I've got is this slimy old dog chew toy and a shiny new nickel.
No. Holding out at me, huh? Give me that cute toy.
Okay, not gonna make the same mistake again. But Rob Paulson's character is wacko. After they're freed by him, they make a break for it, though Spot lost his ability to doggy paddle. Hopefully this is the only thing he lost though, as when they need money to get new clothes, they think to use his dog communication power of the Twilight Bark, yes, really, they referenced it, to try and find a missing dog.
Oh.
I guess it didn't work.
Oh no, my human-eared friend? Yes, thank you. I mean, oh.
Huh, he still pulled it off. Here I thought they would have him go through the notion of missing his dog form, but I guess he still has a bit of it left over. Now that they have some money, it's time to do manly things.
Well, curiousness will get you to the pearly gates above. But there's a bunch of things that money can do. Put a shirt on your back and a shirt on your shoe. When the gas shows up, I don't say boo. I take the money and run. Cause love can't buy a fancy car or fill your tank. If you want the finer things, you better break the bank. Cause if there's one sure thing that money can do, put the pedal to the metal when the rent comes due. When the money shows up, baby, don't say boo. Just take the money and run. Oh yeah.
They then remember they still have dinner with Mom tonight, and they forgot now that Spot is a man. Fooling Mom will be a problem.
You're not one of my fellow finalists in the Teacher of the Year competition, are you?
Why, yes. Yes, I am. I am a teacher, and a darn good one, too, who appreciates a fellow darn good teacher enough to come all the way down here to this lovely Winnebago Park to say, may the best darn good teacher win.
Honey, where's Scott?
And, that's the other reason I came. To tell you that, Scott's family called and he had to go home after all. And he needed a grown-up to help, and I, obviously, am a grown-up human man person.
Inappropriate adult joke. Also coffee joke time. And date night. I gotta say, for the time spent in this form, I'm surprised he got off fine without much trouble. And it's still hilarious. Of course, I don't know how many of you are into this kind of humor since, yeah, not every TV show or story that can be fit for television can be stretched to movie length without it dragging too long, and much like the last movie I did, this one can test the patience of many who aren't into the humor they have. Maybe it's because I grew up on some of them 90s cartoons in mixed variety, that this one would still be familiar to me, that I can appreciate what it does to make me laugh. And again, it uses its unique animation style well, allowing for more expression and opportunities for jokes. And speaking of jokes, this is probably the most hilarious, if not disturbing revelations of the movie.
We can stop worrying how I'm gonna live and where I'm gonna sleep and how we're gonna stay together. I've stumbled upon the answer, and it doesn't even matter that I'm a hairy-knuckled grown-up with back pain. Ouch! In fact, it works to our advantage.
You're kidding!
Of course, I won't be sleeping in the bottom bunk anymore, but I promise I'll tuck you in and tell you a bedtime story before I settle in to watch the 9 o'clock news with Mary Lou.
His pet is going to be his new father! It's so stupid, and yet I love it. Naturally, Leonard isn't too keen on the idea that his dog will become his new dad, and he snaps.
You have to stop liking my mom right now!
Oh, in all fairness, son, I believe Mary Lou should have something to say about this.
And stop calling her Mary Lou, and stop calling me son! I command you, as your master!
Former master, Leonard! I'm not your dog anymore!
Well, I sure as heck am not your kid, so maybe you just better leave me and my mom alone!
Well, this got rather sad. Of course, when you're in a movie, you get to have one of those. Cue funny song sequence of everyone being sad in their own twisted way, and even Ivan gets in on it. It's now that Spot starts to realize what he's missing now that he's no longer a dog, and Leonard feeling bad for kicking him out. Luckily, Pretty Boy and Jolly make it to Florida and soon find their way to Leonard just as he was moping about losing Spot.
Something's happened to Spot. Sit down. It's a long story.
So this is what it's like to be human, huh? Sitting alone in a dump on your tailless butt, just twiddling your opposable thumbs. Top of the world, Ma!
Well, look at it like this. Even though you're a hairy man with a toupee, in a hotel room with half a neon sign flashing the word loser, that you don't end up in a crime film noir situation.
I know it's been said, everyone needs someone, a loyal companion to share in life's fun, for a day at the park or a game of leapfrog. A friend needs a friend, a boy needs a dog.
And this song is also really touching, as he finally knows what it means for a boy to have a dog. So, Leonard, what are you gonna do?
There's only one way for us to be together again. I've gotta go to Dr. Crank and have him change me into a dog!
Alright, wait, what? Yes, he's willing to offer himself to Ivan on the chance he can turn into a dog, just so he can be the dog of his once former dog? I fail to see the logic. But whatever. Spot learns from his animal friends about this and goes to catch up to his owner. It seems Ivan is okay with doing this, if only because he can lure Spot here, but now he can have both a humanized dog and a dog-ized human. This was a great plan, Leonard. I see why you thought this was a good idea.
Oh, Mommy! Nothing wacko about that!
Oh, isn't there, Dr. Wacko?
Oh, you're right on cue.
Oh!
You really should have seen that coming.
Oh!
I'm sorry, Scott. I just wanted us to be together again. I did it for us.
No, I'm the sorry one, Leonard. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have messed with nature.
Oh, haven't you heard, my good man? Nature is dead. Science is king.
It was already dead before you came along, when every animal under the sun could talk, especially to this small child. So, based on how this action sequence goes, the laser can turn one into a human, but if you get hit again, you turn into a mammal. Yet Pretty Boy is a bird, and it didn't make him out like the two mutants. Whatever, cartoon logic, I suppose. Using the nickel he received from Ivan long ago, Spot takes the chance of blowing everyone up just to zap Ivan with the laser.
Cool.
Not quite the brain I was expecting, but close enough. But uh-oh, the machine is about to blow. Luckily, he frees Leonard and ends up taking one last zap before it explodes.
Scott! Scott!
Well, that got even darker.
Stupid science!
That you, dear blue fairy? How many times I gotta tell you, dog breath, I ain't no fairy!
Spot? Is it really you?
In the fur!
I guess it worked out in the end. Hooray! And yeah, Spot finally accepts his place in the world and that he's proud to be a dog. We get one last song sequence that ends on some odd imagery. So ends this crazy drug-fueled frenzied movie. Definitely a lot of fun. Though, unlike the Cloudy movie, I think this one might have been better off as a made-for-TV film. Don't get me wrong, this is pretty hilarious in the way of a comedic animated film based on a TV show. It has some great visual humor with a unique art style to boot, the voice casting was excellent and play off each other well, and the general plot is what you may expect the show to pull off if it had a higher budget. Of course, because it relies on this kind of humor, it means the plot won't make too much sense, but it didn't need to. While it can have some messages about the value of friends, and that you should always be careful what you wish for, the audience it was made for will mostly benefit from seeing their favorite characters in a larger setting. Of course, this is just me on the grounds of not having seen how the actual TV show ended, so I can't say if this was a good way to end it all or not. That's also what can leave non-fans disinterested in a movie like this, since not everybody would know about the series, how it functions, what its humor is like, and that can be subjective, or find the unique art style appealing enough for a viewing. And I don't know what the marketing for this was like since the film bombed. Of its $10 million budget, it only made back $6.5 million. It does go without saying that your perception of the movie would probably be better if you've seen the show. But maybe you'll be like me and still find it entertaining as the wacky cartoon comedy it was born from. Either way, it does look like it accomplishes in being a large-scale take of the show, and while I can't say it's anything Captain Underpants the movie could do, it at least made me smile at a funny dog movie. Now, I just want to say right now that after the Patreon stuff and crossovers, I'm going to do my Season 5 finale, which means I'm going to push back doing the month of webcomics I would have done for this year into next year. But our last requested Patreon video for this month is for a webcomic. But, well, it's going to be rather mature. Be prepared.
Teacher's pet. I wanna be teacher's pet. I wanna be huddled and cuddled as close to you as I can get. Teacher's pride. I wanna be teacher.
You talk real hard to old Virginia, where George Washington took his first bow. Wow, we're all the way to W now. Washington, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. I don't know how much higher I can sing.